All right, season 2, Run the North, episode 1. Will here with Jason. We are about a week into training camp. We are just starting to be able to talk about football after what seemed like an endless offseason. We got some changes coming this season. Jason, you want to talk about some of the directions we're planning on taking this podcast this season?
Hell yeah, bud. Welcome back. Can't wait to get after it here. So we're going to be jumping into a couple of things. We're going to keep rocking on YouTube. We're going to focus on long form video and the shorts. So keep checking those, liking and subscribing on those. We're going to work on a little bit more of a social media presence. That's something that I kind of started mid off season here. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, etc. Also going to be looking into adding some of our long form content onto Spotify as well. So you'll be able to get all the links. I'll put it all on the socials here in the next coming days, especially when this episode drops. It should be ready to view. But that's something too. We're just looking to get everything growing, exposure, get things that you guys want to hear from us, and really just get out in the wild, see where this thing goes. So looking forward to connecting with you guys and getting all the word out to anybody and everybody that you think is going to love this. So can't wait.
You're forgetting the most important part, Jason.
Fire away, dude. What'd I forget?
Dude, Madden. We're streaming Madden now.
Oh, dude, we're starting Madden 26. I used to crush Madden like most dudes in our demographic, but it's been a hiatus. I decided to get married and buy a house and get a dog and all this stuff. Oh my gosh. But now, after I think 21 was my last one, 2026, we're going to do that. We're going to get after it. We're going to get some other buddies involved too, maybe. Yeah, you're going to see some material on that during the week too when it gets a little lowly, because who wants to hear about practice every single day? We got some fun stuff coming to you.
Yeah. No, the people want to see amateur Madden guys go at it and talk a lot of smack, and yeah, it'll be fun. I have played some of the recent Maddens. I usually get halfway through the NFL season, I'm like, all right, disappointing Vikings loss. I gotta do a little, NFL season in Madden, take them to the Super Bowl, and just, have that.
Well, especially
happen.
when your boys get smacked. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna play versus the Packers, and
Yeah.
I know we lost by 3, but I'm gonna go beat them by 60. And we'll get a little therapy out. We'll probably have a beer or two some nights. We'll probably bitch about life and work sometimes.
That's right.
Definitely not expecting to be, your dubbies or those guys that are, just all nasty with the sticks. Like, we'll
Is that
have
a
some
person?
fun ones.
Is that an actual person?
Oh, Dubby, yeah, he's a big Madden guy back when he was in college.
Gotcha.
Philly guy. Need It, I think, was the brand. My buddy Luke was big into that too. But we'll be relatable, but we're going to get after. You're going to see some passion. Will's got some experience with some online streaming his games. I used to do it too back in the day. Excited to get that itch scratched. It's going to be awesome.
Sweet. And so we're going to kick that off with Madden 25. I just typed in Madden 25 release date, and apparently there was a different Madden 25. Are we looking for 26? Oh, that makes...
Dude, we are getting old. It's crazy.
Oh, no
there
way.
actually was a different 25, because I think the one with Barry Sanders on the cover was the 25th year, not 2025. So you're not wrong on that.
Okay, that explains a lot. I was like, I'm seeing two covers.
Saquon, I think.
It's doing the backflip. And it looks like it's releasing August 14th. Does that sound right, Jason?
That sounds absolutely right.
All
you know
right.
what this week is, right? This week is Madden top 10 drops. So they're going to go, each day is going to be a different position. They're going to drop the top 10 Madden ratings for top 10 players or whatever in that position group. So I think it's going to be O-line, D-line, quarterback, receiver, etc.
That's always fun.
They typically drop on a Thursday. I think the 14th is going to be a Thursday. Is that right? It is right. And then those who buy instead of $70, those buy $100 or $150, whatever it is, for the early access. You can go 2 days early. I don't think that's going to be me unless the people really need it and we get enough engagement to pay for it.
No, we'll see.
Looking at you, fans that have yet to be named. We get enough people on this, we'll have to come up with a name for our fan base, like everybody else seems to do.
Yeah. We don't have to figure that out now, though. I think it is a good segue into let's talk about the offseason here. Let's talk about real football. And I'll kick it over to you, Jason. It's been a long, slow offseason. Bears made some moves. They made a lot of moves. Give us a rundown.
We got a new coach, and I was excited. We brought in Ben Johnson, OC from Detroit. Was a little nervous at the time. I know last year I spoke as I would have probably preferred Vrabel just from a badass culture standpoint, but couldn't be happier at this point. And a lot of the things that we're seeing on on Twitter, and like even like NFL Network, the mock interviews, it's just a different tone. And I know you can say that a lot of times, anytime a new coach comes in, it's, oh, it's a breath of fresh air, it's a new culture, blah, blah, blah. This guy's got a different level of dialed in, so much so that my wife, who enjoys football, but she doesn't really have the history or experience with it, it's like, who's this guy? Yeah, he's different.
He's busting asses.
He's confident. He knows what he's talking about. He also doesn't sound like he's full of shit. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is. So really excited about that. He's holding guys accountable. He's telling guys practice, hey, first team, that's not good enough. You're out. We're going to let the second team in. You need to be more prepared on your pre-snap, your operation, all those types of things, assignment, alignment, and all that stuff. So that's a breath of fresh air because it just feels like we've had between Eberflus, Nagy, Fox, Trestman, a lot of guys that are just the football jargon, like corporate speak of football. It's like, okay, they're not going to tell you anything. And
they're bureaucrats that are just there to fill the role.
100%. So, that addition was huge. And that kind of transitions into how we approached the draft. It was very evident with a tough, badass, accountable style that he was the one running the draft. I mean, Poles is the GM. He also got extended, like I think a couple weeks ago. So well after the draft, now they're finally in alignment to 2029, both the head coach and the general manager, which is something we talked about structurally. Like everybody needs to be aligned, and then you draft a quarterback. Well, that didn't happen again, but now that seems like they're trying to correct that. But yeah, we went tight end, we went receiver, then we went tackle, D tackle, and we went crazy with trades. We got Joe Tooney from the Chiefs. Before that, the Patriots, 6 Super Bowls, 3 with Brady, 3 with Mahomes. Probably still the best guard in football, even though he's getting a little age. We traded for Jonah Jackson, who played with Detroit as an all-pro guard then. Got hurt in LA last year, and then I think it was 5th or 6th round pick we traded him for. So then we signed Drew Dahlman, center from Falcons. He's top 5 center in the league. To me, yeah, that's the thing.
Let's pause on that one real quick. Dahlman, top 5 center in the league, you think?
Statistically, yeah. I mean, you talk about his blocking, his win percentage, and pass and run block, outside zone, that type of stuff. More the analytical stuff than a preference. But he is, because he's smaller, but he's way more athletic.
Right.
His dad played for the Niners, I think, back in the day, too.
Anywho, let me pause you right there, because one thing I wanted to talk about was I did see a list of like top position groups. Sure. It's like an account that'll be like top, wide receiver rooms, tight end rooms, to top O-line, and it put the Bears at like 3, which I was very, very, very skeptical of, seeing as they had probably bottom 5 O-line last year. You mentioned Tooney, he's 36, 35, 33. Okay, 33, not too bad, but still no spring chicken at this point. You mentioned what the center's name is from the Falcons.
Drew Dahlman from the Falcons.
Because I remember the Vikings were looking into him as a replacement for Garrett Bradbury. And I remember reading about him and just sounding like he sounds just like a complete net neutral. Like it just sounds like Garrett Bradbury version 2. Like undersized, athletic, but gets bulldozed in pass protection, which I feel like is what Caleb needs right now. So I was curious. And then what are the other additions you made to the O-line or changes to the O-line?
So traded for Tooney, left guard, signed Dahlman in free agency center. I think he's the second or third highest paid center behind Creed Humphrey in Kansas City. Then we traded for Jonah Jackson, right guard. He played left guard with Detroit, and I think he played left guard in the center, which he shouldn't be playing center for the Rams. Then he got hurt, but he was a Pro Bowler before that with Ben Johnson. And then our right tackle, Darnell Wright, top 10 pick 2 years, going to his third season now.
Yeah, and he was like the one lone like semi-bright spot on your line last year, right?
Correct. And then left tackle is going to be our biggest concern, because Braxton Jones is a serviceable left tackle. He's average at best in everything, but he's coming off an ankle surgery. He's not getting live team reps in camp just yet, still recovering. So with that, Karan Amagaji is the 3rd rounder out of Yale. Last year was a rookie. He did not play well against the Vikings. That's what the national spotlight, and then for the stain on his record. But he also came into the season last year hurt and did not get camp, and that's a big deal for development, especially for a rookie.
Right.
Not making excuses for him or like trying to be pie in the sky about it, but it's a big deal. And then we drafted a second rounder out of Boston College, left tackle. God bless you, sir. The left tackle, Ozzie Trapillo, 6'8", more of a technician than a mauler, but he definitely fits the exact profile of Taylor Decker, who's left tackle of the Lions. And Ben Johnson's come out and said, the thing I need out of my offensive line first is pass pro. So I think like everything that we saw, I know I think it was third or fourth best offensive line going into the season. That was a PFF number. So it's cool. It's one of those things. PFF. Oh, it's great when your number is great, or oh, you can't trust PFF when your number sucks. I don't trust them. I interned with them for a little bit. Their grading scale does not take into effect anything football related. It's just what they think they know, guess, and see. You don't know.
If it's still subjective. Like it's still subjective to like what they grade as a win versus a loss in an individual assignment. So it's very far from being objective. And then the reviewers will have their own personal biases. So yeah, not a perfect science. Okay, so backing up just a little bit, I wanted to talk O-line because this article ranked the Bears O-line as like third highest, like third best unit going into the season. Vikings clocked in at 5. And so my question for you is, if you're taking one of those units, which one are you picking? You sticking with your Bears?
It depends on, I guess, style. Like I like your tackles better than I like our tackles, but I like our interior more than I like your interior, mainly because you just paid your center and right guard and drafted a left guard. So you have a clean slate up there too. We know, but you guys have a more concerning injury history.
That's fair
with the center and guard. So you have the added benefit that Freeze and the other name escapes me at the moment.
Ryan Kelly.
And Kelly. So Kelly being the center, Freeze is the guard, is like they played together in Indianapolis too. So that's a little bit of chemistry still.
Right.
A little bit different scheme coming from Indy's offense, which is Steichen, the former guy from Philly.
Right. Very run heavy.
Yeah. Well, and a little bit more power based now to this zone, heavy passing. So we'll see how that benefits. But again, you guys have a rookie, quote unquote, quarterback on JJ McCarthy. So yeah, just like we were talking about with Caleb, you want to keep him upright, but at the same time, you don't have a Tom Brady processor back there that's going to take a lot of load off the offensive line. So just like with the Bears, we're going through too, you have an offensive line trying to learn a new scheme, trying to learn a new quarterback, and trying to take pressure off the quarterback, just as far as making coverage shifts and quarterback in the offensive line.
Yeah.
So on paper, though, you guys' tackles are stellar. Like O'Neal's a stud. He's been there. He's gotten paid, and he absolutely deserves it. Darisaw, when healthy, top 5 in my opinion, because he just seems like right now Trent Williams light. Is he going to be that? I don't know, but can he be? He has all the
coming back from the torn ACL, MCL. That's a big question mark, but it sounds like he's doing good. I think he's set to. I think he's doing like non-football workouts as of right now. I want to say. But is scheduled to, I think he's cleared for football stuff by like preseason week 1 or something like that.
Which is coming up quick. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks away, dude.
Hell yeah.
Love that. Okay. So last couple points quick on the Bears, and then we're going to move into the Vikings stuff.
Sure.
The Bears this year, in my opinion, we're going to dig into a little bit more, but they should be 500, hunting for a playoff spot. The roster is just better on paper. You got to think discipline will be a lot better just because, pre-snap penalties, less sacks. If we can get the percentage of completion up a bit more and just be in games, I think some good things could happen. Because you think about, we lost the Vikings game on a blocked field goal that should have been not blocked. And then we lost the Packers game on a blocked field goal that should have been a penalty and 15 yards closer for launching. So, and then we blew 3 other games because of clock management. Can't say I'm going to win all 6 of those games that are 5 of those games I just mentioned, but you win 2, 3 more. You're 3 and 3 in the division instead of 1 and 5. So those things, you just think with competent leadership, you see a couple of those improve the other direction. So I think that's going to be real interesting this year.
I'll throw one like word of caution in there, where even though I think Ben Johnson's super competent, super competent. Something I saw out of KOC, I think he's a great coach. But these offensive guys that turn into, get their first stint as the head coaching gig, you do start to, I did see growing pains with KOC with like, in terms of like clock management and like game decision making, where all of a sudden it's like they haven't had to be the guy pulling the trigger on a lot of these decisions before. And I think that was a big jump KOC actually made last year's. I feel like he got better at the game management aspect. But I could see that being, having some growing pains there where you're like, oh man, why didn't they take a time out there? Why didn't they challenge that? Why are they, doing this, that, or the other, which easy things to say as armchair coaches and GMs, but something to look out for with Ben Johnson, something that'll be interesting to see what his like in-game coach style is like. Here's a question. Do we think he's as aggressive on like fourth down as he was in Detroit? Like that was like the hallmark of that Detroit Lions offense. Is that a Dan Campbell's thing? Is that a Ben Johnson thing? Or is it like, can Ben Johnson even trust this offense enough to take those risks? I think they could do that with Detroit because they were that confident in their, in their O-line and their offensive play. Early reports out of training camp doesn't sound like Ben Johnson might be at that level of comfort on fourth down yet with Caleb Williams.
They got to earn it. And that's something that he said too, when he you got to earn the trick plays and stuff. You got to do the little things right. You think about when they first came together in Detroit, Dan Campbell came in. I think it was Anthony Lynn was the offensive coordinator. He got fired. Then Ben Johnson took over midseason.
Mm-hmm.
They were, 3 or 4 wins. They were in all these games with 3 or 4 wins. It's like, so at that point you're like, fuck it, go for it. Test the resolve of this team. And then after that, they continued to earn more discipline, earned it, got more disciplined, earned it, got more discipline. And so then they were able to trust those in those moments. And then you look at like specifically last year, they're on their 3rd, 4th, and 5th string defense. And we saw in the quarterback thing on Netflix that Campbell before the game's like, offense, this game's up to you. We're going for it every 4th down. We're not messing around. So it was a progression over 4 seasons to get there. So to your absolutely aware comment about, growing pains, I guess, to simplify it is absolutely right. And I can't wait for the first time he blunders a timeout. Oh, we're so used to it. It's like, oh, come on, it's the same old thing. Season's over, week 4, that type of thing. So my closing thought is I do think they should be in the hunt. Doesn't mean they should be guaranteed a playoff spot, but they should be competitive in every game. They shouldn't be blowouts, but doesn't mean they're going to win them all. The one thing I'm looking forward to, as we talk through our week to week, and I break down what we like, what we didn't like, what we saw, what we're excited about, not, and all that, I want to get back to being a fan of something again.
Right.
I want to enjoy it. I'm not going to be a homer and be like, oh, Super Bears, Super Bowl. That's my running joke with everybody because we've been so bad. Mm-hmm. But I want to get like that giddy, like, yeah,
at least feel good. You feel good, and you like have some sense of optimism and hope.
Right. I don't know. It's
not like last season you were just like, your common refrain was just like, what the hell are we doing? Hopefully you're not wondering that. You can like at least see what this coaching what this coaching team is trying to accomplish, and not just shaking your head like, wait, like what are you guys actually thinking? So hopefully it becomes a more enjoyable watch for you guys.
So that's where I'm leaving the Bears conversation, at least for the next few minutes. Where are you right now with the offseason of the Vikings? Obviously, KOC's here. Flores stayed. You went into the draft with your same front office, give or take, maybe a couple of minor guys. Talk me through that.
As far as confidence level goes, it is sky high, as is my hopes and my optimism. Classic position to be in as a Vikings fan. We've been here many times. It's also dangerous, very dangerous position to be in. But no, I just made like $100 bet with my Packers fan friend of like who's gonna have a better record this year. I wanted it to be $500. He's like, I'm not gonna make that bet because you're not gonna pay if the Vikings lose. I'm like, first of all, yes, I will pay. Second of all, I won't have to because like we're
head to head for the full season.
Full season record. 18.
Oh man,
18
you're putting
week.
A lot on JJ because your roster's nice. No question, the roster's nice, but you're putting a lot on JJ McCarthy. I like that.
Well, let's sidetrack here because here's another thought I had before we get into the Vikings too much. Do you think when we look at JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams, who do you think? Trying to think of how to word this. Who do you think controls their team's destiny more? What team is going to be more reliant on their quarterback's performance to succeed? The Vikings or the Bears?
I'll
give you time to think because here's my thought on it. I think the or I think the Bears are going to be a lot more reliant on Caleb to perform well in order to succeed than the Vikings are for JJ McCarthy. I think that is because they've approached this team building in the way in like the best way I think, which is like the QB was the last piece of this puzzle, where they have such a complete roster out. They have a complete roster outside of the quarterback. They have a lot of continuity, which I think is really undervalued. I think when people are projecting how teams are going to do the next year, a ton of continuity on defense and offense, and the coaching. Having Brian Flores stay in another year, I think the defense is going to get that much nastier. So, and then you even look at like when JJ.
That's another thing. Your defensive tackles that you signed, Hargrave and Allen,
Yeah.
if they stay healthy, you're in trouble. If they don't, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
but that could be, that's the nastiness point for sure.
Yeah, the front seven is looking absolutely filthy right now. Like potentially, again, if they're healthy, potentially one of the best units in the NFL. So, and then you look at, when JJ McCarthy won the championship in Michigan, it's looking like they've constructed this roster in a very, very similar way. Another thing I didn't talk about yet is, the running game. When you look at the Bears versus the Vikings running game, I would lean advantage Vikings, but
no question.
Not much. You'd say no question.
By much.
Okay.
There's a chance we could pop off this year just with the improvement of the line. Again, it's the least sexy thing, but it's improved so much all around. But until they prove it, there's nothing to talk about, in my opinion. Not to negate you, but what are we talking about here? I look like an idiot if I'm going to say, no, we got a better, but no, we don't. So
all that is to say is I think there's not to call JJ McCarthy a game manager, but I don't think he has to be anything more than a game manager. I think he can go out there and throw 12 passes and win games for us between the defense and the running attack and the way KOC draws up plays, where like he could get an explosive throw early on, 1-2, if they get like a quick 7-0, 14-0 lead, like they can just lean on the ground game, just do some high percentage passes. He can really, I feel like he can win the Vikings games without having to throw a lot. Now, I don't know. Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I just don't know if the same can be said for the Bears, where I think Caleb is going to have have just more pressure on him to win his team games. I guess to your point that if you think the running game for the Bears is that much worse than the Vikings, you can't maybe rely on that as much. Defense, I know you guys, your defense is maybe somewhere in the middle of the pack. But, I don't think you're going to be able to rely on them to keep you games or like keep scores low. So to that extent, I would say I think the Bears are more reliant on Caleb to do well, to be successful this season, than the Vikings will be on JJ McCarthy.
100%. And you guys have like that Jordan Mason pickup is going to be sweet.
Huge.
Because he's going to be the battering ram and like basically what Alexander Madison wasn't. So
yeah,
I'm with you there. I have to lean. I guess you're right. I give it a second to hear you talk, and I'm not taking it because that's what you said to agree with you. But the continuity is going to be a big thing because you guys have your fourth year of KOC. I know it's a new quarterback, but a lot of those guys on offense have been in the same spot. Same thing. You got 3 years of Flores. Like that's been pretty great. We have a new head coach, new OC, new defensive coordinator. I am excited on defense just because it's going to be a much more aggressive man press blitzing style as opposed to your cover 2 sit off type. Those 13 yards on 3rd and 17 to the Washington Commanders didn't matter. It was we just needed to get to the Hail Mary. It's like, no, it absolutely matters. What are you talking about? So to that end, the continuity is going to be a huge part. And as a result, I would expect somewhat of a slow start, both sides of the ball, just because you're getting everything new. Now, we spent a bunch of money. We picked up Grady Jarrett, D tackle. We signed Dayo Dingbo, who's a guy trending upwards, but he's not a huge sack guy. A lot of pressures, but not a huge sack guy. For the Colts is now with us. Jalen Johnson's dinged up. So it's going to be interesting with a lot of different moving parts. The other part is I don't think it's going to affect Caleb as much as we will think, or we're definitely going to talk about, you and I and the media throughout the year, just like the boomer bust factor. Like we already know the pressure's off JJ because he got hurt and he's got to sit. And he doesn't have to do a whole lot. Like you just said, is like he just needs to manage the team and they'll do well. in theory, our roster is not that bad. If you just manage the team and not get sacked as much, think about that. 68 possessions, like I think it's 93% of drives that have a sack in it don't result in points.
Right.
So the next like sack guy was, I think it was Fields or somebody was like, no, it wasn't Fields, but it was like 15 less. Well, the good quarterback's only getting sacked 30 times. So if you can cut 68 down to 45, that's another almost, what is that? That's 23 more drives, a field goal, a touchdown. Holy shit, what are we talking about? And if not, field position, and then with a more aggressive defense, maybe you get the ball in better spots. Maybe you get better opportunity. Excuse me, I know we're playing hypotheticals. I'm not trying to, but I agree with the continuity part because there's a whole lot more that can go on. Back to your point about fourth downs on Ben Johnson, they got to earn it. They got to build it and really kind of get to their identity. And that's the one thing I was looking forward to with Ben Johnson. If he's holding true, and it sounds like he is, at least in the press conferences, I don't know what the offense is yet because I don't know my guys, and I'm going to tailor it to my guys. Like that is football porn for a guy like me. It's like, oh, we're finally going to run the team towards the players' skill sets, not the Matt Nagy. Well, I didn't come here to run the I formation. Well, you had all the tools to run the ball. And that's the only thing that worked for you. Why aren't you doing the stuff that works? So I digress. Back to the Vikings. Holy shit.
Cool. Well, hey, good conversation. Scaling back, talking about the offseason in general. Vikings did what the fans wanted them to do, which is beef up the trenches. So we got on the defensive side, we got Javon Hargrave from the Niners, big D tackle, and Jonathan Allen, another interior guy. Both of them, as far as I know, I think their strength is rushing the passer, which is what we desperately lacked. Like we blitzed more than any other team, and I just don't think we really had the sacks to show for it. Like the success on those blitzes weren't great. Granted, maybe you factor in incompletions and turnovers and stuff. Maybe that makes it look better. But one thing that just from an eye test level, you never saw a lot of interior pressure, which as a Vikings fan, like on the flip side, living through years of Kirk, that was just one thing where I was always like, man, as soon as a big guy gets in Kirk's face, especially early on, he's just like running scared for the rest of the game, and he's not playing his game. And so that's something I always wanted the Vikings to have. At least I have wanted them to have for many years. So it's good to see that them address that. Garrett Bradbury, Evan Ingram, as well as who our left guard was, blanking on his name.
Jackson.
Well, that's that's the new guy. That's the new guy. Basically, but interior offensive line, complete swap out. We got about like 300 pounds more beef in between the trenches now, which is good. Garrett Bradbury, just saw him get bull rushed one too many times. Ed Ingram had the size, but he just wasn't very good. So glad to see us get some veteran presence there. I love that they went out and got two guys from the same team that played next to each other. Like that's huge. I think that's great. And then investing draft capital in just a team first player in Donovan Jackson. Remains to be seen how good he is, but again, he's got such a good supporting cast on the offensive line. It's hard for him to fail. And left guard, I feel like that's one of those that it's not as bad as like if you have a really bad left tackle or like whoever's blocking the blind side, blindside tackle, or like even having a bad center, I think can be pretty rough, since that's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? I think you just have to be a little, like, you got to think a little more as a center, right?
You're the quarterback.
You're the quarterback of the offensive line. So yeah, feeling good about the beef. Probably just the one area that we are maybe is a bit of a weakness or question mark is going to be our cornerbacks. Well, we have Byron Murphy, who's good. We re-signed him. Probably paid a little extra, but he was good for us last year. He was able to play.
Sweet nickel makes a lot of problems go away, because if you can tackle and play the ball, that's
and he can play inside and outside too. I think they did have him on play the outside sometimes. We got Isaiah Rodgers, who's a really intriguing prospect. He was a backup corner for the Eagles, but one of those guys where he didn't see the field because the starters. I forget who the starters were on the Eagles. It was, I don't know,
Bradbury, Slay, and then the white boy.
Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
So they
6 in the Super Bowl. Cooper DeJean. Put some respect on the name, Jason.
Hey, and former Hawkeye. Don't forget that.
Oh, terrible.
But yeah, it's not like he was a bad player. It's just the guys ahead of him were playing very well, so it's kind of hard to see the field. But you know, you watch some clips of this guy. He can play. I mean, he you know, good ball skills. So really excited to see him. Kind of just again one of those opportunities where the Eagles weren't going to be able to pay him, and
Right.
so he's kind of, you know, it's like taking it. You like in my life when I'm ready for a promotion and the company's not ready to give it to me. It's like, okay, I'll go get my promotion somewhere else. It kind of feels like what it's the case with Isaiah Rodgers.
Sure.
So that's interesting. And then we're getting Mekhi Blackman back from injury last year. He was a rookie that I think he tore his ACL in camp, but was showing a lot of promise up until that point. Was getting a ton of praise from the veteran DBs. So interesting to see how he develops. And then another wild card in Jeff Okudah. You know, guy with
Detroit first rounder, wasn't he? Was he top 10?
Yeah, he was a top 10 pick. Like great physical attributes, had a lot of potential, and just we're like his fourth team in 4 years. So makes you curious, you know, kind of reminds me of a guy like Laquan Treadwell, where like should have been good and just couldn't really figure it out or put it together. Apparently he's seeing run with the ones though in camp so far. So another interesting thing to see if like Brian Flores unlocks. All right, he's only 26 years old, so it'd be interesting to see if Brian Flores managed to unlock something in him. But that's probably our biggest weakness. But again, the best way to protect those guys is to have great pass rush with your base defense. So you know, I think that's the direction the GM and the coach decided to go in this offseason. It's like, well, we could get better defensive backs, or like we could get better on the interior D line and try and create more pressure. And I think it just makes more sense. It's like creating more pressure is, I feel like, a more of a winning strategy than just hoping your cornerbacks can lock down receivers.
It makes the DB's life way easier, just less time to cover.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot more beef. Got some new faces on in that cornerback room, but little unproven. Otherwise, just a lot of continuity. Jordan Mason, looking at the offensive side, really excited for him. Another guy like Isaiah Rodgers, where it's kind of just like, you know, he needed a promotion. Like he was one of the top backs, at least from like a fantasy perspective, when Christian McCaffrey was out last year. So excited to give him some more run. I think, you know, just speaking fantasy wise, like where he's going in drafts, I think people are underestimating how much run this guy is going to get. You know, Aaron Jones is getting old. We just gave him a 2-year extension. We're going to want to keep him fresh. So yeah, I think Jordan Mason's going to get some of those more bruiser down snaps, and I'm excited for him. When he scorched the Vikings when we played him last year, so I thought that was a great low-key pickup. Really excited to see him. And then the rookies, yeah, we got Donovan Jackson, left guard. We didn't have a ton of draft picks. We got Ty Felton, wide receiver from Maryland. Last time we drafted a wide receiver from Maryland, that turned out pretty well.
Some might say it was a Minnesota Miracle.
They could. Then I'm trying to think. The other picks I would not say are as noteworthy. That was round 1 and 3. Round 5, we got Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, kind of outside linebacker, DE, sort of hybrid type that Brian Flores likes. Kobe King, similar but more inside linebacker. I think he's more of like kind of a, I don't know if he's a thumper or more of like a coverage linebacker. And then 6th round pick on Gavin Bartholomew, tight end out of Pittsburgh. So all late round draft picks. So I'm not going to say too much about them, but who knows? Maybe they'll surprise in camp.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for you guys. You guys brought back Eric Wilson just as your third linebacker
story
there. That's pretty cool. So players and front office, you know, the ownership decided to extend Kwesi for a couple of years. You feeling good about that?
I do. I think the way him and KOC work together has worked well. Granted, obviously the big weak point for Kwesi has been his drafting. He had that disastrous first draft, his first year in office, where like I think we got 2 of those guys on the roster right now, and they're on their way. Actually, Brian Asamoah might actually be out already. I forgot if he's still on the team or not. But it's him.
Listed as a 3rd rounder right now. Third stringer. Thank you.
Yeah, so he's, you know, there were some expectations for him, and he's just not really done well. And then there's Ty Chandler, who's just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. One of the big mysteries from last season, I thought, where he just disappeared and there was no reporting on why he stopped showing up in games. Mm-hmm. So, and those were the last two, I think, from that initial draft class that were still on the team. So, remains to be seen. But I think the way he's managed the roster, I've appreciated. I think we'll see how last year's draft pans out. Mm-hmm. Obviously, JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy's career will really define the Kwesi and KOC era of the Minnesota Vikings. It's really going to come down to how JJ McCarthy turns out. So that I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to drafting is if that works out. If not, they're probably not getting extended again.
Right. Well, okay. So as far as extensions go too, I think it was when we go golfing on Thursday, we went to the simulator. Mm-hmm. It was the night that they extended Josh Metellus. So yes, it's just interesting. Like your corners are suspect, to say it kindly, but you got Harrison Smith, who knows how long he's got, but he's still back there. Josh Smith, and then you have Byron Murphy. So we talked about this a little bit towards the end of the season before it ended, and just saying, hey, which one, if you're not going to pay both, which one are you paying? They ended up keeping both. Do you think which one of these contracts is going to age better than the other? The Metellus one or the Murphy Jr. one coming up after, not this year, but for the length of the contract?
Well, I will add one point of clarification, which we did have one cap casualty, which was Cam Bynum, the leader in our dances.
Oh, that's what I had backward. You're right.
So he was the casualty, which I think a lot of people anticipated.
He went to the Colts. I'm an idiot.
He did. That being said, I mean, I don't think either of the contracts was a mistake. I think we got good deals. Well, we overpaid a little bit for Byron Murphy, but there's just not a lot. I mean, there weren't a lot of really great cornerbacks out there that you wouldn't have had to overpay for. So it's like, okay, if you're going to overpay for someone, we might as well get someone that's been proven successful in our system, which will then have another year in the system. Mm-hmm. And then Josh Metellus, I mean, what can you say? He's been a team captain for a couple years now. I think, practice squad guy, actually. His first season, I think he was on the practice squad. So worked his way up. So you gotta love guys like that. Overall, I'm happy with those. So I think it probably worked out the way I would have liked it to, with Cam Bynum being the casualty.
Fair enough.
Outside of that, yeah, like I said, sky high optimism for the Vikings this season. I'm feeling good. First few reports out of camp, I'd say overall pretty positive for JJ McCarthy. Some of the throws that are coming out are looking good. Reporters saying he's got a wicked fastball, which I'm excited to see in action. I think at the combine, I forgot if it was just for the year or like all time, recorded one of the fastest throws. It was either for the year or for, I think it was just his draft class. I think the only person that threw it harder was
Drake May, maybe?
No, it was a black guy. I want to say it was like
Joe Milton.
Is that the guy that the guy that ended up on the Patriots?
Yeah, he went
yeah.
And then he got drafted. They traded this year to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
For like a third round pick.
Yeah, well, and he's like 25, so like he was like 4 years older than JJ McCarthy, so it's like, all right. I mean,
right. But he's a string bee, but man, he gets a lot behind that.
Yeah.
So, okay, before we close the book on the Vikings, and you cannot say quarterback, I got two questions. The rookie you're looking most forward to, you might have an obvious answer there, but then just any player, and don't say kicker because we know you're a Will Reichert diehard.
Will the Thrill.
Which rookie and which player are you looking forward to the most? It doesn't have to be the one you hang on to the year. Maybe we'll make that a segment later, like checking on the one guy for the whole season, maybe track one, maybe track two. But where are you at right now, just as far as excitement level? I want to like see a tweet about him. I'm going to be checking in on him.
Yeah, I mean, for rookies, I really feel like there's only two real answers. There's the unsexy pick in Donovan Jackson. It's like, okay, is he getting JJ McCarthy sacked constantly? That would suck. But like if he's playing really well, you don't notice him. So like that's not really a sexy. I'd prefer him to perform better than the other choice you could choose here because he's a starter. The sexier choice would be Ty Felton, the wide receiver out of Maryland, who is he's got some juice for sure. With Justin Jefferson having a low grade hamstring strain, Jordan Addison likely having a couple of game suspension. You know, you can see
a contract year nonetheless.
Yeah, I suppose so. Which really, yeah, I think maybe they're. I feel like after Jordan Addison's legal troubles, I feel like they might be more inclined to let him walk, which is too bad because he is super talented. Although I feel like next year is his contract year. This would only be his.
Well, he's a first round pick, so he's finishing his fourth year here.
No, it's his third year.
Is it really?
I think it's just his third year. Yeah. I think last year was his sophomore year. Drafted in 2023.
23, 24, 25. Yeah, you're right.
So I think, he's got one more before the contract.
Even better.
But
all right.
Also, I guess one other thing to look out for the sexy pick of Ty Felton is it sounds like they are looking at him to return punts and kicks. So maybe we get to see a little bit of that juice on display for special teams.
So does that mean that Jordan Naylor, or not Jordan Naylor, Naylor's the one, he's cemented as a 3? Yeah, and he's not going to be returning kicks anymore? He's
pretty cemented as the 3 at this point. Okay. However, one other off-season addition that flying under the radar that I didn't mention, one more wide receiver. Do you know where do you remember who I missed?
The kid from Arizona.
Yes, Rondale Moore, which is also like kind of a sneaky, a little sneaky addition. He's injured, so I don't think he's seen action in training camp yet. But he's a fun little gadget player guy. He's speedy, can stretch the field, so that'll be another interesting one to keep an eye on.
Love it. Well, that's going to be a lot of speed, I think, just between some of those guys you mentioned.
Yeah. Let me flip the question on you. Which actually, sorry, I didn't answer the second part of the question, which was who else are you most excited for? I'll hit you with a deep cut here. I'm looking forward to seeing Levi Drake Rodriguez, LDR. Okay. He was 7th round pick last season. He was what
the pass rusher, right? D tackle.
Yeah, he's an interior line guy. He was it might have been PFF. I forgot which publication does this, but he was like their Prospect X, which every year they do a profile on a just like someone that'll probably go 7th round or undrafted. And it was this guy, LDR, Levi Drake Rodriguez, the year he got drafted. And he just, I don't know, he's got a little something to him. He's got charisma. He's just got a little something to him. So I'm excited to see him get on the field and see what he can do. There's a deep cut for you.
Hell yeah. Well, that's kind of why we do this segment, because it's like you keep track of the guy that maybe not your mainstream. Like, okay, that's why I said no quarterbacks. Well, obviously everyone wants to watch Justin Jefferson. Obviously everybody wants to watch Caleb Williams. Yeah. You know, it's like, so let's make it interesting, because we do know a little bit more than the average guy about what's going on with our teams. And you just asked me too. Flip the script. What am I looking at? So one vet, one rookie. I'm going to go, my vet's going to be Javon Dexter Sr. D-line, I'm excited we added Grady Jarrett. I'm hoping some leadership and some technique can get rubbing off there. Yeah. We also drafted Shamar Turner, who's one of those guys that's, I think he's a little banged up last season, but he can play both a big D end or a tackle that's lean. But Javon Dexter Sr., he's showing more leadership this year, it sounds like, on all accounts from the team. He is a monster. Like he's built just like Chris Jones, 6'6", 300, whatever pounds that is, but he's moving way faster than he did coming out of college. It's his 3rd year. So trying to talk about getting in a position for contract year. Otherwise, just to be a solid piece to where we now have 4 or 5 interior linemen, which is mostly the Philly model. So that'd be cool. Just to get like a consistent pass rush and see what it means to actually play aggressive defense. I think he can do it. And then my rookie spotlight's going to be Kyle Monungai, the 7th rounder out of Rutgers, running back.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that one. What was his name?
Kyle Monungai. Monungai. Mongai. I think I'm going to be a Monungai.
Okay. Let's see what you did there.
Right. So if you look at him, all of his measurables except for his 40 are comparable to Ashton Jeanty. He is a short guy, low to the ground. does not go down on first contact. He did not fumble a single time in college.
Hmm.
And he can pass block like a mother.
Hmm.
So it's
So
something
why did he slip to the 7th round just because of the slow 40 speed?
such a saturated draft class, if you recall. And that's
Hmm.
something where the Bears were in their draft. They got sniped every which way for backs. Once it was clear that Genty wasn't going to be the pick, because there was talk that either they were going to trade up to 6 to get him. Second round, Henderson, the kid from Ohio State, went 1 pick before us, and that's why we ended up going with Luther Burden, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth round, I think we got sniped, and that's why we reached for a linebacker. But this guy, yeah, the 40, like you were mentioning, could have been a thing about it, but I think it's a lot of saturation because there's even so many guys in third and fourth rounders. I think it's really pick your style. And
Sure.
then, and typical Bears, like, we trusted our board. We just let the board speak to us. It means, okay, you just weren't willing to push up and spend capital, which fine. Like I agree more with get more swings than take a home run swing as far as trading up and losing value. Especially because recency bias says we've got burnt on that a million times anyway.
Sure.
So for right now, I'm excited. Jervon Dexter Sr. and Kyle Monangai, my vet and my rookie, to look at, especially because, again, the running back room, like we talked about a little bit earlier, DeAndre Swift's your lead back. Roshan Johnson's supposed to be your change of pace guy, but he was misused. And when he was used, he didn't produce very high numbers because he was used at the short yardage back. So they're only calling run plays supposed to get 4 yards, right? And it's just, they need a compliment. And knowing that Ben Johnson, like you remember the year a couple years ago, DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams didn't break 100 or 1,000 yards, but he had 17 touchdowns, I think. Yeah. And then we obviously know the Knuckles and
Sonic and
Knuckles. Yeah, the Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs. So he knows how to play with 2 different styles, which all 3 of them, Swift, Johnson, and Monangai, are all different style runners. So hopefully that's just something to keep the defense thinking and changing up which scheme we can do. So
you think Monangai takes Roshan Johnson's role at all? Is that something we should be looking for, or do you think it's going to be a committee?
It's going to be a committee, and I think one of those 2 guys gets injured. I mean, I know Swift missed time early. Roshan's had concussions last year and the year prior. It's a position that is not at a premium for dollars wise, so it doesn't hurt to have 3. And that's something you guys noticed last year. It's like, can we get Ty Chandler to run the ball? Mm-hmm. I like watching Ty Chandler, but he's not trusted. And then you guys brought in, was it Akers again? And there was one other, retread that came through. So yeah, it's just, you can't have enough of them. Just like pass rushers, just like receivers, you gotta have 4 now for a position. So excited to see that. Those are some guys I'll be looking at as we get through camp. We're probably going to dial in on a guy for the year that we're going to keep checking on, that we're the most excited about. And again, it's not going to be the quarterback, and it's not going to be the kicker.
Fair enough. Well, cool. I think we hammered the off seasons pretty well. Any hot takes or tweets you want to share? Or is it too early to get into hot takes and or tweets?
The tweets, it's just all speculation and BS at this point. So next week or 2, we'll be getting into those. I don't want it's a hot take, but it is a fun new segment idea you brought up. You had a really cool one. It was jerseys in the wild or something similar to that. Like, what's the most obscure or random jersey you saw? And we had all off season now, whether it's the draft or just on Twitter or out at a concert or something. Who did you see that made you go, wow?
Yeah,
didn't see that in a while. Wasn't thinking that.
I'll start this one, and if anyone's made it this far in the podcast, please let us know what some of the most obscure jerseys you've seen are. I saw a Toby Gerhart jersey at the Minnesota Yacht Club Festival. I was thrilled. I went up and talked to him, and we talked Vikings third-string running backs for about an hour. So it's great to find another ball knower in the wild. Yeah, Toby Gerhart,
man. Minnesota Vikings draft pick 51. That's a second rounder in 2010.
Wow, was he really a second rounder?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And then because he played 4 years with you guys, and then
something like that.
2 years with Jacksonville. He had a 6-year career.
Amazing. Yeah, Toby Gerhart. You seen any good ones lately, or can you think of any you have seen?
I saw a Florida State 22. You know who that is from back in the day?
Running. It's Ricky Williams, right?
Nope.
No. Oh no, he was Miami, wasn't he?
Yeah, correct. Short, white guy, quarterback.
Breeze? No, I don't know what college he went. No, he was Purdue.
Even even shorter. Played for the
Man,
Bears. I think he was drafted by the Rams. He
you're
played a lot of Canadian football.
You're stumping me. I'm not
You're
sure.
probably going to remember him early 2000s, probably with either Buffalo or San Diego.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here.
He played till he was 43. He had a drop kick for the Patriots.
Oh, Flutie?
Doug Flutie.
Wow. Yeah, that is a throwback. Is
that not the wildest thing?
Wow. Yeah, that is crazy.
I was at Hy-Vee produce section in like May. What's going on? It was maybe like a Tuesday at lunch.
Like, maybe this is just a new trend. You know, when I was young, you wore the jerseys of players that were really cool and your favorites, but you know, everything's ironic with Gen Z. So now it's like, let's get some obscure jerseys going. I can be behind that trend. It's a great way to start a conversation. I mean, great conversation starter.
It was odd. It was odd, but I love me some Doug Flutie. You see him on the testosterone commercials now. I think so. I'm looking at his profile. He's listed at 5'10", 180. It's like, no,
I don't think so.
Or like 5'8".
Yeah,
my
wife's
5'7". It's like maybe 5'8", dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy, but that's a fun idea. Maybe we can keep it recurring, great. But if that's going to be a spot check one every time we see one, we got to say it. That's wow.
Yeah.
So maybe we make it to one of the games, the Vikings game this year that hosts the Bears. Maybe we see some weird ones there. It's always fun to see who travels.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll keep checking in on that. I feel like, there's a lot of good ones out there. So hopefully we hear some good stories. Love it.
Well, that's all I've got for you today. As camp goes on, hopefully, no injuries, because that's a total. It's gonna happen. But that's a total buzzkill. Next week, coming up, we have the Hall of Fame game coming up. We have football in July. We have
everyone's favorite game, the Hall of Fame game.
Hey, you know what? Thursday. It's actually this Thursday. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 days away. It's going to be 4 days and like 2 hours away. Can't wait. It's Chargers and somebody. Who cares? We're going to all be watching it on Thursday night. I'm going to get some wings and a beer, and we can kick it all off.
There you go. Love it. Oh, cool. I think that does it from my end. Season 2, episode 1 in the books. Jason, any final words?
Let's hit those socials. Let's get this thing rocking. We're excited to get checking in with you every week. Excited to maybe we get some guests this year. Let's get some engagement. I'm going to be all over the social media, so let's get into it. Don't mind arguing. Don't mind agreeing. Let's get after it on it.
Hell yeah. Let's stop. Yeah. I was going to try and make a pun about it. Instead of Instagram, let's call it Instigate, but I don't know. I'll keep working on that bit. Let's instigate Jason on Instagram. Yeah.
Fired up, dude. I'm ready.
Sure. Fuck yeah. All right. Will, Jason, run the North. Week 1, Season 2. We'll catch you next week.
Bear down.